Hello, this is your evil twin, welcoming you back to Let's Play Quantum Break. These are Monarch striker units. They wear outfits like militarized spacesuits, except they protect against a causality vacuum, rather than a lack of atmosphere. Their personal chronon fields keep them active during stutters, and the flow of time within that field can be altered to give them bursts of super speed. We just killed that striker with an explosive canister, but it's actually quite tricky to pull off. The way that strikers warp all over the place means that it's rare for them to stand next to a barrel long enough to get blown up. Plus, strikers are pretty resilient. Their chronon fields protect them from a world without time, and the suit itself shields them from chronon radiation. But it also has enough armour to deflect quite a few gunshots or a small explosion, almost twice as much as a SWAT trooper. So explosives won't kill them unless you've already injured them. But chronon containers are a different matter. Yes! He tried to rush past just as it exploded. Of course that didn't cause a stutter, because we're already in a stutter. Strikers are immune to time stop. In fact, they cause time stop bubbles to collapse immediately. You just ran into the Ground Zero red zone. Strikers are unpredictable. Sometimes they do little time dodges of just a few feet. Other times they warp across the whole battlefield and shoot you in the back. It takes a lot of SMG shots to put a striker down. An assault rifle would do a better job. Or getting some headshots would help. The devices on their backs are also weak points. They're the chronon field generators. Shooting them doesn't do as much damage as a headshot, but it's better than shooting their armour. And if you damage it enough, it explodes and leaves the striker frozen in time. It just occurred to me, this is probably the first time these striker suits have been used in combat. So Monarch really hasn't had a successful test of this equipment. Each one of them is carrying an unlicensed chronon accelerator on his back. Well, no sense worrying about it now. I love how shooting their chronon devices makes them malfunction with all these sparks and crackles of orange lightning. Then it blows up and sends them flying, and they get frozen while arcing through the air.
Will never told you what he did in that workshop at Ground Zero?
No, never. He hid that part of his life from me. Nothing prepared me for the weirdness that was waiting there. And even that was just a prelude to the bad stuff that would follow in that same place later.
Foreshadowing. I'm not sure what this machine is meant to be. Any suggestions? Those strikers were shooting at us with a new weapon, the tactical SMG. Based on the real-life Chris Vector submachine gun. The bullets are pretty weak, like the normal submachine gun, but it fires 3-round bursts, and it doesn't have any kick or recoil. It's like a much more accurate version of the burst-fire pistol. We're heading into Monarch's giant hazmat tent of all the scary warning signs. On Xbox, the achievement picture for completing this chapter is a nice bit of concept art for the Ground Zero entrance. And yeah, in the game, it's pretty true to that original concept. Abort operation if you experience strong sense of deja vu, chronostasis, or any other time perception anomalies, or sudden changes in body cell aging.
It's the only way forward.
Would you call that deja vu, or a time perception anomaly?
Absolutely no entry. I'm pretty sure that's more of a guideline than a rule.
I feel like we're about to walk into a smoking radioactive crater, or a melted down nuclear reactor. CR hazardous levels, unstable space-time, chronon environment suit mandatory. And it has a picture of a suit with 4 prongs sticking out of it, like the field generators on the striker suits. Yeah, this definitely looks like a hazmat decontamination tent.
What the hell? What is this?
Jack should be standing in a white sterile corridor right now.
What hell? What is this? That already happened. What the fuck?
Jack's gone back to a time before Monarch took over the industrial area and built the hazmat tent and corridors. You can actually skip the fight with the strikers by running straight to the Ground Zero entrance and coming here. This random time shift happens, and then you've lost the strikers. You're in a completely different year to them.
I specifically requested copper-clad niobium.
Well,
There's no words to describe it. Will was gone, but he was all around me. This entire secret life he'd never talked about, everything he tried to protect me from, it's surrounding me. A puzzle, trapped in broken time. We all thought he wasted his research grant, his career, obsessing over some failed experiment. That's what he led us to believe. What he built there, it never failed.
It works. It works. Need my grant extended another year. Please, don't do this. Hello.
Will is wearing a Night Springs t-shirt. In Alan Wake, Night Springs was a TV show, a bit like The Twilight Zone or The Outer Limits. Makes sense that he enjoys sci-fi shows like that.
Countermeasure. I hope to God this works.
Will. It's gone.
Come with me. I can survive this. You're the only other one who's seen what I've seen.
Don't.
Give me the advice.
I knew something went horribly wrong there, but it was scrambled. It's impossible to crack.
Days and nights passing in seconds, rapidly shifting shadows, things constantly being built and then taken apart. It reminds me of time travel in The Time Machine, the film based on H.G. Wells' novel. Either the original film or the remake. There's a Riverport Rex's sign here. And when Jack interacts with it, it vanishes. We've just triggered a quantum ripple. We'll see where that sign ends up later on. Will's workshop seems empty and deserted now. I'm guessing we're at a point in time after he abandoned it and Monarch took over.
It was overwhelming. Every unanswered question I had was compounded by what I'd seen at that workshop. The events at the university were part of something much bigger. Something that had started 17 years ago.
We're moving forward in time, getting closer to the present day. And now we've left the red zone, we're properly back in the present. Jack was protected by his abilities. Who knows what other people experience when they enter there?
Okay, dry dock. Get to the dry dock. I'm almost there. Gotta get to Paul.
There's an email here from Charlie Wincott, warning that Amy Ferraro is in the security station, copying sensitive Monarch files and transferring them to a USB stick. No big deal, just, all of Monarch's secrets. As for Jack Joyce, Charlie asked that the troops act like this was their natural environment, a high school locker room, and Jack is the kid who can read a full sentence without moving his lips. Just fuck him up. It's worth noting that the stutter ended while we were in Ground Zero. Time is flowing normally again. But Jack is sensing some nearby time anomalies. If we use time vision, we can detect a Chronon source in the area, and we can reveal this displaced time event, a recent echo of Paul Serene and Dr. Sophia Amaral.
I refuse to leave while Jack's still here. I need to contain him.
Paul, your condition is critical. The stress. If you don't receive your treatment, you know what could happen. Come to the island right now. The treatment will be waiting for you. You will be back in top condition by the time the gala starts.
I don't like it, but you're right. Always looking out for me. Ready to chop.
No. You're not getting away that easy.
There's a couple of guards in there. We could easily take them both out with one time blast, but we might as well try out this tactical SMG.
Enemy spotted!
There was something wrong with Paul. Chronon syndrome. He'd had his powers much longer than me. What was the cause? Was I sick as well, or was it his time travel? I didn't know. It didn't make anything he'd done any less hateful.
Paul Serene's brain scans, tracking the progress of his Chronon radiation sickness. And we just splattered the brains of a Monarch SWAT trooper all over those scans. His body's twitching. Now over here there's an intel item. It's a book, The Sudden Stop. The final Alex Casey novel by Alan Wake. It's been signed by Alan Wake and dedicated to Emily Burke, Liam's wife. We saw that book in Liam and Emily's home during the live-action TV episode. Maybe she's such a big fan that she has 2 copies, and Liam took one of them to work. It's the machine used to scan Paul's brain. Now here's an interesting email between Beth Wilder and Fiona Miller. Fiona was in the live-action episode. She's the blonde woman that gave Charlie the bacon and egg sandwich and asked him to the gala. Well, during the university operation, she was working here in this lab. But it turns out that Fiona's been secretly helping Beth to look for Will's countermeasure. And they're both trying to help Jack because they think he can help them get it. In fact, Beth asked Fiona to keep Charlie distracted from the security feeds. That's how Beth was able to move Jack's transport without her cover being blown. Also, Fiona has been looking into what happened to Dr. Kim, Monarch's head of Chronon research, before Dr. Amaral. She's just discovered that Dr. Kim was working on a device related to Will's research right before he died. So that's why Beth told Liam Burke to get into Dr. Kim's lab. Beth claimed it was so that they could find the lifeboat, because Dr. Kim was at the centre of working on it. But actually, it's because Dr. Kim's lab might have clues to finding the countermeasure to fix the fracture in time. Scan of Paul's nervous system, again checking the progress of his sickness. Now, here's a funny thing. In the last email, Fiona said to Beth that she couldn't just ask someone to let her into Dr. Kim's lab. But less than an hour later, Fiona did actually give that a try. She emailed Dr. Sophia Amaral and asked for access to Dr. Kim's lab, because there might be some files in there that could help their research in developing a cure for Paul's Chronon syndrome. Dr. Kim was supposedly close to discovering a cure at the time of his death. Sophia replied and said no, because because there's nothing of value in there aside from Paul Serene's treatments, and confidential files that would be of no use for finding a cure. But Sophia also said that she shares Fiona's concerns about their slow progress. Martin Hatch has shifted all resources to the tech division, and she's wondering if Martin even wants Paul to be cured. In fact, she's looked into Martin's past and discovered that prior to him starting at Monarch, she can't find any records about him, no aspects of his life. And he was the only one present during Dr. Kim's accident. That's certainly a bit suspicious. So she wonders what his agenda truly is. So, let's recap a little. Paul thinks the end of time is inevitable. He murdered Will because Will wanted to waste time and resources on a countermeasure that would prevent the end, instead of building a lifeboat to survive it. But Paul is dying, and Dr. Kim and Amaral and Fiona Miller have all been trying to save him. But Fiona's also secretly working with Beth Wilder. They're trying to find Will's countermeasure to prevent the end. Beth has also recruited Liam Burke by lying to him and telling him Dr. Kim's lab might have clues on how to get his wife into the lifeboat. Then there's Martin Hatch and Clarissa Gara, trying to root out traitors like Beth and Fiona and Liam. Except they're traitors themselves, they're conspiring against Paul. That Chronon source we detected is up here in this stage. Maybe people were having raves in this warehouse before Monarch took over. I love all the graffiti and murals.
Alright.
Martin Hatch might even have killed Dr. Kim to stop him finishing the cure. Everyone's got their own agenda. Pretty soon we're going to need diagrams and flowcharts to keep all this straight. And Jack's the only one who actually knows about all this, because everyone leaves their conspiratorial emails open on unlocked computers. But Jack doesn't even care about any of this stuff. He just wants to find Paul and get revenge for Will's death.
Yeah.
Jack, you have to understand that Will forced my hand.
What the hell happened to you?
There's no use fighting.
You killed him!
I'll explain when the time is right. You'll meet me tonight at the Monarch Gala.
Gala? Time's ending and you're having a fucking party.
Because when time ends, my plan...
We do this now. I'm not meeting you at...
Yes, you are. I've already seen it happen.
Seen what? What's this all for?
Goodbye, Jack.
No!
See you at the party, Richter! Now, talking of Martin Hatch and Clarissa Gara, there's yet another unlocked laptop with another confidential email. A couple of days ago, Gara emailed Hatch to ask about the possibility of increasing Liam Burke's security clearance and filling him in on everything that's going on, because keeping him in the dark makes him a far less effective operative and causes some logistical difficulties. Liam Burke has a well-earned reputation as somebody who gets things done, no questions asked, and he completed most of Striker training. He didn't finish the program, but he did make a big impression. In fact, she thinks that they could include Burke in their long-term plans, which I assume means that she's suggesting he could become a part of their conspiracy. Yesterday, Hatch replied to say that while Burke is an exceptional individual, he isn't suitable for the kinds of duties Agawa has in mind. Burke was disqualified from the Striker program for a good reason. Although he has the needed moral flexibility and a killer instinct, and exceptional performance operating the Striker technology, the problem is that Strikers need to be made aware of Project Lifeboat and its purpose, and accept its implications. And unfortunately, Burke is deeply attached to his wife. While they might be able to bring Burke in, they can't guarantee a spot in the lifeboat for Emily. They don't need any more nurses, and they're already at capacity. And she's now pregnant. So it's vital that Burke doesn't understand the nature and scope of the threat. As for him playing a role in other aspects of future developments, as in Hatch and Agara's secret agenda, Hatch is worried that although Burke seemingly has an amoral nature, if there's an issue of conflicting loyalties, then he might stand on principle, even if that means acting against his own best interests. Today, Agara replied to that message to say, given the very recent events of the dry docks, I now see exactly what you mean. Clearly you were right about Burke's loyalties being more fickle than they appeared. She's confused as to why he would help Jack Joyce though. There's no way he did it out of some altruistic urge. And Burke wasn't the one who diverted Jack's transport, so there has to be somebody else involved. While we were reading that, there was the sound of a helicopter arriving. can still hear its blades whirring nearby. Sounds like it's landed and waiting. We'd better move on. Detecting a Chronon source nearby, though. Ah, there's the dry docks. This looks like it's near to where Paul had his junction moment, deciding whether to go the PR or hardline route. That might be where the helicopter's waiting to pick him up. There's that Chronon source.
Alright, that's it.
And over here, Martin Hatch left a tablet lying around. On it, there's an email from a couple of weeks ago, a report on Liam Burke that has been done under the guise of a psych evaluation. The doctor, Manuel Peretta, is a bit pissed at being forced to breach doctor-patient confidentiality. In fact, this email is why Hatch knows that Burke's wife is pregnant. Peretta reckons that Burke is a powder keg, that under his calm exterior he's under tremendous pressure. Peretta understands Hatch's reasoning for pulling Burke out of the Striker program, but he says that the result is Burke now has a sense of encroaching doom. He knows Monarch is preparing for a future threat that is somehow related to interruptions in the flow of time, and that there are dangers out there, dangers that they've been training the Striker units for. Liam Burke is willing to commit acts of violence without asking why, but it doesn't mean he's content to merely follow orders and let others worry about consequences. He needs agency. He has a need to feel in control of his life, and that's been taken away from him. He fears the end of the world might be coming, and the only hope of survival is technology that Monarch has denied him access to. He isn't going to be a part of the solution. Burke is likely to remain effective as long as he doesn't have reason to believe the scenario he fears is imminent. But once he believes it has arrived, all bets are off. And indeed, that's exactly what happened. When Beth told Burke the end of time is coming, he flipped just like that. I like the dirty scuff marks on the floor of this locker room. Good detail. Here's the last narrative object. It's an email from Charlie Wincott sent earlier this morning. He was digging into Amy Ferraro's background. Good grades, popular, not studying anything even remotely useful in a world where you have to work for a living. She's always protesting this or that, signing petitions, spends half her life sticking her nose in other people's shit. But she's pretty good at it. And she's real good at getting her friends coordinated, so that makes her perfect for Monarch's purposes. If they can talk her into saying what they want, there's a lot of folks who are going to listen. No boyfriend or girlfriend. Charlie's annoyed that he can't figure out which way she swings. But she's got close family ties, so that's where they'll get leverage. So this is the locker room where Monarch troopers get dressed for work, including a big selection of guns. I'm going to swap the burst fire pistol back to the standard pistol, and swap the carbine rifle back to the semi-auto shotgun. But I'm going to keep the tactical SMG. Last Chronon Sources here too. If we activate time vision, it's just lurking behind this locker. The music's getting quite intense, a sinister throbbing. One of those tables full of guns and ammo, seems like we're about to have a boss fight. Is Jack about to have a big shootout with Paul?
Sir.
Paul.
Come back, God damn it!
Don't.
Ah, stutter. That's fortunate.
Holy shit. Gotta move. Come on.
Paul used his time powers to weaken a crane and make part of a ship fall on top of Jack.
Okay. Focus, Jack. Focus.
But Jack can use his own powers to reverse it. With limited success. You might remember back when the time machine exploded in the university lab that not everything was frozen solid. Some objects in the stutter were shifting back and forth, a moment looping over and over. Need to time this just right. Oops. I guess Paul was wrong. He won't be meeting Jack at the gala. There we go.
Stutters were getting bad. He's shifting back and forth without warning. At the time, I didn't think it could get much worse.
But we both know it did.
That looks pretty dangerous. Yeah, how about we don't try to run across the middle of there?
That's gotta hurt.
Nailed it. Let's jump across before those containers shift back again.
Need to get the hell out of here.
If you misjudge the jump slightly, and when things shift around, you can end up landing down there. That's not necessarily fatal though, and you can just climb back up these containers.
Jesus! Cutting a little close, Jack. It's like a goddamn maze in here.
Yes, it is. And if you get lost in this maze and try to jump to the wrong place, or you fall between the containers, then you get splattered.
Okay, keep going.
Now this last bit, you have to run and jump off the edge. If you walk and let yourself drop, then you die.
No, not again.
Here's a new enemy type, Chronon Technicians. They're armed with burst fire pistols.
There we go.
And they throw these special Chronon grenades. Each has a miniature Chronon containment sphere, controlled by a yellow box of electronics with a trigger on the side. And on top, there's a charging port that's actually labelled Charge Here. The concept art shows one that's been plugged in, as well as its carrying case, labelled Portable Chronon Suppression Device. A black and white version of this concept art is used as one of the loading screens. These grenades temporarily cancel Jack's powers. They've set all his power cooldown meters to 0. If Jack's been caught in one of those grenade blasts, then you probably don't want to run straight towards the technician's gunfire. But if you try to hang back here, then it quickly becomes a very dangerous obstacle course. All kinds of amusing ways to get killed. On the other hand, sometimes a technician will try to approach you while you're in the danger zone, and then they will suffer a case of death by misadventure. Nice. Technicians are stutter-proof, but they can't warp around the place, and they don't have any body armour. Ah, we just got the Focus Aim Pull achievement. That was for getting 10 headshots while using dodge focus. We have to deal with a squad of strikers as well as technicians. And our time blast meter hasn't recovered yet. As you can see, the shotgun is great for dealing with strikers. They actually have a special vulnerability to shotgun blasts. Striker armor can stop a lot of bullets, but shotgun pellets seem to do a bit of bonus damage to strikers. I guess to reward you for having the guts to time dodge into them and blast them at close range. You get a one-hit kill even though they're well armoured. Damn, no one got close enough to that Chronon container. We blasted that striker's body straight for that fence. I guess the laws of physics are rather unstable during a stutter. Fighting strikers reminds me of fighting the flash guards and warp guards in Time Shift. The flash guards slow time to run at super speed, while the warp guards teleport around by stopping time. If you enjoy the combat in this, I recommend watching my Let's Play of Time Shift. It's rather lacking in story, but it's similar time-powered combat. He tried to do a melee attack where Jack was just squatting. And we finished that last one with a time blast.
Beth had been on her way to meet me. I expected she was frozen somewhere up there, by the side of the dry dock.
That ship is still shifting back and forth. There's quite an amazing set piece happening in the background of that fight. Riverport's shipping industry collapsed a long time ago. The dry docks are home to Monarch's Chronon harvesting operation now. There's some nice concept art for the spherical Chronon storage tanks. Remedy wanted Monarch's technology to have a look of militarised NASA, and I think they really nailed that.
Never been a great listener.
Well, time to start. Get in.
What if I don't trust you?
Then shoot me.
Look, I'm sorry, but I'm taking advantage.
That's for not listening to me back there.
Ow.
You want to stop time from breaking down? You need my help. And thanks, by the way, for the +1 in the back seat. Starting to feel like goddamn babysitter.
Babysitter? You kidding me? I got good intel off that computer. Bitch.
My ride, my music. Deal with it.
Who the fuck are you people?
It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never had. Ooh. Thanks for watching, and be sure to join me for the next part of Let's Play Quantum Break.